Illegal immigration obviously poses a very dangerous and problematic future for South Africa.
We will defend our dignity and integrity.
Yes.
We are not here courtesy of South Africans. We are not here courtesy of anyone. When South Africans needed the assistance of Africa, they were all assisted. I mentioned an interview this morning. When Nigeria attained independence under the first Prime Minister Alhaji Sir Abu Bakr Tafawa Balewa, they give them the support they needed. Ghana, the first country independent, they give them the support. Mandela was trained to use a gun by an Ethiopian, Colonel Tesfaye Birru. We must all know the right.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man.
A South Africa without a conservative government will continue to have porous borders to some extent. The people of the DA would only close the borders as far as is possible for them to still keep their liberal woke credentials, and the ANC is letting everyone in on purpose because they're trying to demoralize you and cause this country to fall into a dysfunction from which it can never recover, keeping them in power. Porous borders in South Africa are a problem and have been a problem for a long time. We have poorly secured the borders, allowing for widespread undocumented entry, making effective control quite challenging. There is a strain on public services because illegal immigrants want to use public services for which they pay no tax. It causes an undue burden on already stretched public services such as healthcare, education, housing, and social welfare.
So foreign nationals in South Africa are once again at the centre of a debate over access to public healthcare services. This comes after anti-migrant groups, including Operation Dudula, blocked undocumented migrants from entering clinics in cities like Johannesburg and Durban. The South African Human Rights Commission has condemned these actions, saying the Constitution guarantees healthcare access across the board, regardless of the immigration status.
Not to mention they're taking over land and occupying it at will. Job competition and unemployment is a problem, a common concern that illegal immigrants compete with citizens for scarce jobs, potentially driving down wages and causing the already high unemployment to get worse. The informal sector is hampered because the presence of undocumented migrants in the informal sector leads to unfair competition, challenges in enforcing bylaws, and the sale of unregulated goods, which, by the way, kill innocent South African children. It causes the sort of unfair competition because when you're a South African citizen and have an ID number, you have to adhere to certain laws. But if you're not an ID-carrying member of the South African population, of the South African citizenry, you can just throw off the law because how are they going to catch you? Who are you? They don't even know who you are, and how are they going to hold you accountable? Because they don't even arrest you for being illegal. National security concerns are a thing because there's a lack of proper identification and documentation for illegal immigrants. It presents real security risks, making it difficult to track criminal networks, terrorist networks, and ensure public safety from common criminals as well.
Operation Dudula is being launched in the northwest. The operation says there are many issues they feel aren't being addressed by law enforcement.
As I can tell you right now, we are going to deal with hijacked buildings, we are going to deal with drugs, we are going to deal with prostitution in our country. We are also going to deal with all these spaza shops that have been opened in this country without having followed proper channel. Remember, in this country, as a person who's coming out from this country without proper document, that is crime on its own. And it is also crime that you are coming from anywhere in the world to come and start your business without having paid a minimum fee of 5 million rands to start a business here, which should be deemed as legal.
The increasing criminal activity can be put at the feet of illegal immigrants as well. They are linked to an increase in certain types of criminal activity, including drugs. Yes, I'm looking at you Nigerians, trafficking, organized crime, and illegal mining. People from Lesotho, And I tell you now, a conservative government would not let that sort of thing carry on. Illegal immigrants must go back to their countries. They would be rooted out of our communities and sent back. If we're going to help them, we would help them there, where they are, with medical supplies and food. And for the drug traffickers, they need to be either dead or in prison. For the organized crime types, they need to be either dead or in prison, and illegal minors should be sent home dead or alive. And if they're dead, with a note attached to their toe for their mother, telling the mother, I told him so, not to come to this country.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man.
There's a loss of state revenue. Undocumented economic activities by illegal immigrants lead to a loss of tax revenue and other contributions to the formal economy. Now you're using your taxes for a growing economy of people that sort of just appeared and popped up yesterday.
Let's play that video for context before we speak to the MEC.
First one. When I was kind. You speak Shona. And then how do you find yourself in Villa Villa and when you are supposed to be with Munangago there? You know he doesn't give me money to operate you guys. And I'm operating with my limited budget.
Thank you so much, Rabbi.
Oh, well, you can't appreciate that. You're killing my health system. You are killing my health system. When you guys are sick, I'm hearing these days, you just say, let's cross Limpopo River. There's an MEC there who's running charity department. It's not. And I'm going to tell you something that is truthful and painful. You know that SA goes and count people during the census and tell me that in Limpopo you have got 5.7 million people, and tell me out of that 5.7 million, 91% do not have medical aid. They are dependent on the state. 9% they will say has got medical aid, they depend on private hospital. And then they go and give National Treasury. When National Treasury allocates its budget, they said Limpopo has got 5.7 million people, and they subtract the 7%, 9%, and they give me the budget of the 91 to do all these operations. Now, I am here, instead of using the budget for what it's meant for, I'm operating for what Mnangagwa is supposed to do.
There's a weak enforcement of laws against illegal immigrants. It's inconsistent and often ineffective. Enforcement of existing immigration laws contributes to the perception that illegals can do whatever they want, because many illegal foreigners will tell you that if they're deported today, they'll be right back here next week, if not by this afternoon.
Yes. We are not here courtesy of South Africans. We are not here courtesy of anyone.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Corruption within immigration systems is high. It is the way of doing business over there. Corruption within the Department of Home Affairs and at border posts facilitates illegal entry and the acquisition of fraudulent documents. It costs 150 Rand to cross over the South African border. That's for those who pay. Many just come across the fences, the rivers, and in all other ways. But if you pay your 150 Rand in and you put it into your passport, you can get into South Africa. That is a known fact. And if that's all it costs, I believe we need a new government immediately, because a conservative government would not let border officials and soldiers do so. As a matter of fact, a South African soldier or border official that takes money for people to come into this country should get the strictest prison sentences of all. And before they get their prison sentence, they should get 30 lashes. They should be beaten publicly and then thrown in prison. There's an exploitation of the asylum system. These so-called asylum seekers and refugees that come into this country abuse the system because they're economic migrants. They're not fleeing from some horrific incident in their country most of the time. They're fleeing from bad governance in their own countries, and they bring their bad habits over here, overwhelming the system and delaying legitimate claims. As a matter of fact, a conservative government in this country would do away with the asylum and refugee system for South Africa on the basis that we cannot take anyone in. We are unable to because we are on a continent where we would be overwhelmed with people who need a place to be. And we can't be those people. We're not a homeless shelter for every failed pauper and vagabond across this continent or otherwise. Overpopulation in urban centers has become a thing, and it is not uncommon to go into the city and not hear one South African language and not hear one South African song while walking down those streets. All you hear is foreign music, foreign languages, and foreign smells. This is illegal immigration, live and in color. It contributes to rapid, unplanned urbanization. They make the housing shortages worse, and they overcrowd the cities. Unknown number of illegal immigrants makes effective planning for public service delivery virtually impossible, leading to further inefficiencies on top of the inefficiencies we already had. Uncontrolled movement of people can pose public health risks. Black South Africans have barely had their freedom for 30 years. Now you are being disrespected and marginalized in your own country by some arrogant foreign peasant. This is disgusting and cannot be allowed to continue. They undermine the sovereignty of a country. The lack of accurate data leads to problems because the absence of reliable data on the number of illegal immigrants makes it difficult to formulate evidence-based policies and interventions. There's an abuse of the visa system. Legal visas are often overstayed or misused, with individuals becoming undocumented due to bureaucratic hurdles or their intent to remain illegally. There's a drain on taxpayer funds because costs associated with deportations as well as providing basic services to illegal immigrants are unfair and a burden to the South African taxpayer.
Go home. Halakan huis toe gaan. Abahambe. Abahambe.
These people disregard the rule of law by coming over the border illegally, and the illegal immigrant fosters a general disregard for our laws, and they commit horrific and violent crimes because we are not their people. This is not their country. They feel no allegiance to this land and to this place and to this people. And it is utter disrespect to climb into someone's country uninvited and illegally. This is arrogant, disrespectful, and a government of sense would not allow this to happen. This impacts international relations for sure. The ongoing challenges constrain diplomatic relations with neighboring countries. That's why a conservative government would put these people on a bus and send them home.
Go home. Halakan huis toe gaan. Abahambe. Abahambe.
Become a member of the channel and get exclusive members-only content, courses, articles, audio, and much more, all in one place. We add new materials every single month, and we'd love to have you. Check out the links in the description or in the links for the channel.
Go home. Halakan huis toe gaan. Abahambe. Abahambe.
A conservative approach by a conservative government of millennials would address illegal immigration in South Africa by prioritizing national sovereignty, law enforcement, and regulated migration.
The Department of Home Affairs with police and the City of Johannesburg officials raided a steel manufacturing company suspected of employing undocumented foreign nationals in Roodepoort. Employees working at the establishment pointed out to the owner of the factory, who is believed to be Chinese.
A conservative government would set up secure borders without a doubt. Soldiers in position, dogs on the prowl, and guns out. That government would invest significantly in advanced border control technologies, increased patrols, including military deployment and physical barriers to prevent illegal crossing. We wouldn't build flimsy little fences. We would build best and most hardest fences in the world, the biggest and strongest walls in the world. We would use drones, sensors, and anything else we would need to. And of course, any soldier that is corrupt, Any government official that is corrupt will be punished to the highest extent of the law. There should be a strict enforcement of immigration laws, implementing a zero-tolerance policy for illegal immigration, ensuring swift apprehension, detention, and deportation of undocumented individuals. We need to reform and strengthen Home Affairs, overhaul the Department of Home Affairs to eliminate corruption, improve efficiency, and ensure rigorous processing of legal applications. The whole place has to be audited, people need to be fired and arrested, and it has to be torn up from the root. Everything redone, every document checked, digitize the whole thing, and then audit it again.
The way I'm seated right now, I'm abiding by the rules here. So there's no one who's going to come into your house and do as they please. We are, like I'm saying, we are justifying our hatred for African people. Our system is failing us. We need the system to work. Home Affairs is supposed to be documenting our people. You understand? And she needs to start fighting for South Africans to benefit from our minerals that are being exploited by all these people. You understand? That's what she's supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why Africans are coming into South Africa, let me tell you why. Because South Africa is the capital city of Africa. This is the motherland. This is where everything is happening. So it is very important that we stand together. And these people, as they are coming here, you must remember that we have one thing in common. They also have minerals in their countries, and they're also not benefiting. So that's the reason why we want to do it for our people in South Africa, so that we can also do it for people in Africa. And also, when you are saying to Home Affairs, document the people that are coming in the country, you are basically protecting the lives of South Africans, because they are living with undocumented people. And also, South African Police Service, they're having thousands of cases whereby they have fingerprints, but they don't have the face. So you need to fix the system. Don't hate the person, because the person is going to do whatever they think is right because of the broken system. So now let us fix the system first, and then the people will follow.
We need to prioritize deportations, expedite the deportation process of all illegal immigrants, ensuring sufficient funding and resources are allocated for this, and it needs to be happening 24/7. As a matter of fact, we need to give all illegal immigrants 3 months to leave the country. They need to be processed from one of our main centers, one center in each province. They need to report there with all their belongings and all the money they've ever made, and they can keep that. That's our gift to them if they report themselves. And then they need to be processed out of the country back to their homeland with all the belongings and all the great things South Africa has done for them and given them. And after that 3 months, if you are in this country illegally, you will have your neck stepped on, your belongings will be thrown into the street, everything you own will be taken away from you, and before you are processed out of this country, you will receive 30 lashes. That's what we need to do. There should be zero tolerance for this sort of thing, and our country should be protected, and we should put South Africa first.
Here we found that this building is, or the person that employs people here is a Chinese national. When we arrived, we found 3 Chinese, 2 males and females, no documentation, van.
Illegal connections to the power grid were subsequently disconnected.
We also found that this building, the building in front, next door, and about 10 shops on the other street, they are all connected illegally to a substation. They have professionally put their own electrical board at the substation, connected it directly to the substation, and they are feeding all these buildings, all this precinct.
We need to prioritize deportations. There needs to be employer sanctions, implementing strict enforcement and severe penalties, including hefty fines and imprisonment for businesses and individuals who employ undocumented migrants. That is filthy and disgusting that people do that, and these are the same people that push this white genocide lie.
You are fake news. Sir, go ahead.
We need to overhaul the asylum system by getting rid of it. South Africa should not have an asylum system. We cannot afford it. We cannot partake in it. We're sorry, but we can't help you. If you need help, we'll send you some medicines, some food, and some training over where you live. You cannot come here. We don't have an asylum system in South Africa. You are either here because you came here legally and you're a person with a high skill, or you came in with big investment, or you're a natural born South African. Everyone else can visit for a holiday and then go home. The interagency cooperation has to be strengthened. There needs to be collaboration between the police, the military, intelligence agencies, and immigration authorities to combat illegal immigration and associated criminal activities. With an increased policing in high-risk areas, deploying more police and immigration officials to areas known for high concentrations of undocumented migrants and related illicit activities. We need to break up these communities within the country and, of course, police the border and make sure no one comes in. There needs to be repatriation agreements, negotiated and enforced repatriation agreements with countries of origin to facilitate the return of undocumented citizens. That needs to be an ongoing process and needs to be one of the things we do most efficiently, just as efficiently, if not more, than we do with SARS and the collection of taxes. South Africa has to have limited access to public services, strict access to non-emergency public services for illegal immigrants, reserving these resources primarily for citizens and legal residents. Fiscal responsibility. We need to explore mechanisms to recover deportation costs from the countries of origin or impose sanctions on nations that do not cooperate or have been withholding fugitives like Bushiri and other places wherever the Gupta brothers may be. And of course, looking for Zimbabwe to repay us costs on all the things we have done for their citizens while they've been running their country badly. We need to try and recoup those monies. There needs to be public awareness campaigns educating our citizens about the legalities of immigration and the importance of reporting undocumented individuals and illicit activities in a non-violent and non-confrontational way.
Yesterday afternoon, the chairperson of the Somali Association decided to give the mayor a call, and this is how the conversation went.
I am the chairperson of the Somali Community Board of South Africa, and I've been looking for you long, and thank you for your calling me back.
Okay.
I'll send you the email and the head letter for on your WhatsApp, and I was busy to see you, but still I don't get you.
Why do you need to see me?
The issue of my melody.
What's the issue?
For those shops, there's a non-compliance.
Is it compliant?
The non-compliance shops for that Mam's Cash and Carry was closed, and the province side was elimination for all the province side, and we remove, and all that things I was need to discuss for you.
So why do you need to discuss with me?
Because the mayor, you are the head of the family, and we did what you was, and then we comply.
No, but the mayor doesn't have paperwork for you to comply. Either you comply or you don't. Do you comply?
Yes.
How do you comply if you have built a shop on the servitude? How do you comply when you have a fuel tank in your property without the necessary documentation? How do you comply if you have built on 4 properties without the approvals of the city?
Yeah, it's true.
So I heard that you tried to bribe one of our councillors with 150,000 rands. I heard that you've been reporting me to everyone who cared to listen. Is this how you work in your country?
No.
Then why are you disrespecting our laws? Are we a banana republic to you? Do you come here and do as you please? You don't pay taxes here. You keep cash up to R1 million in your property. You keep illegal immigrants in your property. And you want to come and disrespect me. You want to meet with me. What do I say to people who don't respect our laws?
We respect the laws and we are compliant.
You are not compliant. We are not crazy. We can't just tell you that the people that we have employed are illegal immigrants if they are not. We are not crazy people. I don't know what you normally do with politicians. Say, I am not that type. You do not bribe me to break the city of my people, the country of my people. So you must learn our laws. You must learn our laws. Once you have done that, we can talk. Thank you.
Organizations such as Operation Dudula and others have to be funded and encouraged to carry out their programs in a non-violent and effective way as they have been, because these people are patriots and they protect this country. Why is the South African government not using them to their advantage? It's because the South African government of the ANC wants illegal immigration to grow, because it demoralizes the society, it fragments it, and it allows snot-nosed failpops to come and disrespect us, bringing their bad habits to this country. Disgusting. South Africa needs to focus on economic growth, implementing free market economic policies to stimulate job creation for South Africans first. We need to streamline legal migration pathways, ensuring that the people that come in here are highly skilled people that come in for short-term visas, medium-term visas, or long-term visas legally. And there needs to be a transparent legal process for skilled migrants and investors who genuinely contribute to the South African economy based on our national needs and our criteria and our targets and goals, not because they need help. We need to monitor and control our informal sector, implementing stricter oversight and enforcement of regulations in the informal sector to ensure fair competition, high quality goods, and increased opportunities for our people, South African citizens. Technological solutions can help us to advance screening and verification across our ports of entry to detect fraudulent documents and illegal attempts. And anyone who is being fraudulent and letting in people into South Africa illegally should receive their lashes and their prison sentence. We should be data-driven. A conservative government would make sure that we're data-driven, based on facts, utilizing accurate and up-to-date data on migration patterns to inform policy decisions and resource allocation. The rule of law must be restored and re-established. A strong respect for rule of law and national sovereignty, sending a clear message that illegal entry will not be tolerated. Anyone who facilitates illegal immigration should be penalized. We should crack down on individuals and organizations that facilitate illegal immigration, including human traffickers and those who create fraudulent documents, in the harshest and hardest way. Illegal immigration is not good for South Africa. Illegal immigrants aren't good for South Africa. These are not the people we want. The Somalis, the Zimbabweans, the whoever's, the Nigerian scammers and drug dealers need to leave this country post-haste. And any serious government, as a conservative South African millennial government would crack down on this in the harshest way, process these people out, and anyone who stays and does not take our amnesty to leave within 3 months will get a foot on their neck. Thank you for listening. If you dare, buy us a coffee. The link is in the description.